lastly, CastOut. We had our final challenge, and we are now down to 2. Toady Hawk with an immunity win in the Super Dunk Challenge, and Adrian in a Minesweeper tiebreak, just inching out Cameron. Both Grace and Cameron join the jury and will help decide which of these finalists will take home 100K DGen. And each of you will be dropping a video plea. And we have some questions for you. So I'm going to ask you those questions now. Some of these are from the jury. Some are from my brain. You should be more scared of those. But
can I give 2 caveats really quickly?
Sure.
I have my son, my son is home sick from daycare. He's sleeping right now, but if I have to disappear, if he wakes up, I may have to go off camera for a minute.
No problem.
So yeah, just want to let you know that. But hopefully,
let you guys know. Don't trust anything Toady says. I don't believe there's a sick child. I don't
there's no child.
A sick child, a sick son. I think he's playing for the.
Have we seen this child? I don't know.
This is a sympathy vote.
Okay, because I have him in DMs talking about how he was at the park yesterday playing with it. Okay,
maybe that's where he got sick.
Show the DMs. Show the DMs.
Show the receipts. All right, so I'm going to start with
what you see.
I'm going to start with this. How do you think you outplayed, and outcast the other players overall? How would you categorize that? And that'll be probably more for your own video, but how would you say, like, in a nutshell? And I'll start with Toady, and then I'll ask Adrian.
Okay, so I never really watched Survivor much, actually. I watched like maybe 1 season, but one thing I was obsessed with was Big Brother. I watched probably 8 seasons of Big Brother. I was pretty obsessed with that. And one of the most successful strategies on Big Brother was sort of a nested alliance strategy that a lot of winning players did. And that basically meant you would have several alliances of increasing size and decreasing loyalty. And so that's kind of what I tried to do in this game. For those that didn't see my post yesterday, Adrian and I had a final 2 pact from day 0, basically, to try to make it to the end. So props. I don't know if that's the right direction, but props to for getting through. And Marion just noticed my display name. I don't know if you guys saw it.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. It'll be back in 1 second. Pedro. Now it's back. For Pedro.
So yeah, we had that alliance, and also I think it's pretty impressive that like nobody really figured out our alliance the whole time, which is kind of crazy because you could see in the bracket game when I won immunity coming into the final elimination, Cameron's shares went super high because everyone assumed because Cameron helped me in the last challenge that we were aligned, and we kind of were. He was part of one of my other alliances, but he wasn't my final 2, and so Adrian and I kind of slipped under the radar, which I think is pretty good. So I had the final 2 with Adrian. I had a 3-person alliance with Cameron and YB. We called it the On-Chain Creators Alliance, and then we also had sort of the Mole Tribe Alliance as well. So from a gameplay perspective, I think just the fact that Mole was the sort of winning tribe in the sense of outlasting Wow and also 2 out of the 3 from my second alliance made it to the final 4, and my final 2 made it. And Adrian's sitting right here. I think that says that we did something right from a social game perspective. And then the only other thing I would mention is that like the challenges were pretty grueling and difficult. Thank you for torturing us, Prof. And I won.
You guys made it a lot harder than it needed to be sometimes. I'll just say that. I didn't expect. I didn't expect the dedication to the game that you guys.
Prof is like, this is going to take like 1 to 2 hours per week max, and then she proceeds to put in like 3 24-hour challenges in the mix. But just to say that I basically tried to be a challenge beast and won immunity whenever I could and whenever I needed to, and I'm pretty sure I would have gone out a few weeks ago if I hadn't won like 3 straight immunity challenges.
I think so too. I think you would have. That's my take on that. I think you were on edge a couple times where if you didn't win immunity, you probably would have been the one voted out.
Yeah, so, Adrian too, for that matter. But yeah,
same. All right, Adrian, how did you outplay, and outcast?
Wow. Okay, so I'm famously have never watched Survivor.
This is hilarious, by the way, that both of you have never watched Survivor.
But I did what I do when I do anything, which is ask for help. So immediately went out and kind of pled for anyone who would offer help, and people delivered. So one, I leaned into the bracket. So I kind of found out who had bought shares of Adrian, created a group huddlers chat. There was some funny drama in that chat also, people thinking there were some spies. I trusted. That chat was super fun. And Lynx was awesome from the beginning, kind of coming in and just giving me all the strategy play. So mostly what I got was the game is about alliances and don't trust anyone and kind of having multiple layers of alliances.
So Cody and Lynx just called that the onion alliance.
It's,
I think
it's
that was
a
Lynx. Or maybe it was Dewey. It was one of them layered. Yeah. The onion alliance.
Lynx was sending me, he's like, here, just watch this 45-minute recap video about all the strategies of Survivor. And I was like, okay, but but I remember like I was like doing something, I don't know, is that with, I was like, okay, as I was like folding laundry, I was like, quick. And but I'm not super into the psychology games, and I loved like the team games. So for me, the beginning of the games were just like super fun. And Mole, I was the first two challenges, yoinking was insane. I wasn't really expecting. We stayed up like all night yoinking. I
didn't expect you to
like
do
literally.
That.
And this is my dedication. I like slept in the guest room so I could like set the alarm and play throughout the night. But it created this really good bond within Mole, and that really lasted. Yeah. So Toady pings me from like day one and is like, hey, want an alliance? I had Lynx in my ear, like, don't trust anyone. But Toady throughout the game, I was like, is he doing it? How many people is he? And like from the beginning, he's like final two alliance. Like this is there.
And you're like, how many people is he saying that to?
There's going to be other alliances, but like the Toady Adrian one is going to be the one that is like the strongest. So I don't really trust him in the beginning, but throughout the game, he was very, very trustworthy in terms of consistency, in terms of actions until the very end. Boom. Okay. Anyway, that's another story.
You had me pretty, I was surprised. I didn't realize that you two had a final two alliance because I thought you had an alliance with Cameron also.
And she had all the inside info.
Yeah.
So
she had no inside info.
None. The options aren't good.
Let's say not you, I'm saying Prof.
Oh yeah, but I know I had all the inside. Yeah, I could see all the chats, and I didn't know that you two had a final two alliance. I really thought Toady and Cameron did, and I wasn't sure, but I knew you had a Mole alliance, but I really didn't realize that. So that was surprising to me.
But it was super fun.
Go ahead.
It was super fun. Not what I expected.
So this question from Ivy: what is your biggest regret in the game? This is always a good Survivor jury question.
Who is it to?
Adrian, why don't you start this time? Sorry, Adrian, go ahead. And then Toady.
Okay, so my biggest regret besides believing Prof when she said it wouldn't be a big time commitment.
Sorry about that. Really believed it when I said it. That's all I can say.
Is probably just not reaching out. I wish I had reached out to different players for like one-on-one chats, not to be like, let's make an alliance, but just to develop, like just to chat with people. Like I was too much of the playing, like let's play the challenges, and the team is like we're on a Mole team, so there. But I could have been. I think the one-on-one chats in the background and kind of creating some just relationships and talking to people would have been helpful.
How about you, Toady? Biggest regret?
I actually got a no regrets tattoo, so no. My only regret is not buying Adrian's shares so I could get into her group chat and get the alpha. That was
that would have been smart.
I have a player in my group chat too. I wasn't. Yeah.
Wow. So you left it open to anybody who was. Oh, all right.
Dillsteck was in there.
But in all seriousness, my only regret in the game is that I did put myself into a bit of a pickle, I guess, in the very last vote challenge, which Adrian alluded to a minute ago. Yeah. So what had happened was Cameron offered to. Well, Cameron tried to play the game, and he wasn't able to. Like his latency was so bad, he couldn't get less than like 4 seconds. So he's like, I'm just going to tap out. He's like, but if you don't vote for me, then I'll amplify you and get people to play. And he didn't ask me like explicitly, like if you take me to final two, he's just like, if you don't vote for me. So I was like, okay, this is a no brainer. I said, sure. So he amplified, and it did help. There was a few people from his network that I ended up playing for my side. There was one guy I want to give a shout out to, Beauberge at Beauberge. He played a lot and like won 5 matches for me, and that was awesome. So there was that. But I started to realize as I started going through the votes, because I'm kind of not great with math. I started going through the votes later. I'm like, shit, what have I done? Because now I realize, you know, if I win immunity, I actually have to vote now for either Adrian or Cameron. So I'm going to have to backstab Cameron after just, you know, taking his help. So I didn't like that very much. And then Prof announced that we could potentially not vote for anybody or abstain for one of our votes. So I did wrestle with it for a while. I even screen recorded myself doing the vote in case anyone wanted to see it later, because it was a difficult decision, because I realized that most likely if I did not vote against Cameron, that it was going to end up being a tie. So we had done a little bit of talking, Adrian and I, and we thought the tiebreaker was going to be whoever was second in the game. So you might have noticed me frantically playing in the last hour of the game because Adrian was busy in a meeting to make sure she won a second game so she would be second in that competition. So that's what I thought going into it, is that you're just going to say the tiebreaker goes to the second person in the game.
That's why you were asking. So I was getting questions like, what's the tiebreaker? And I'm like, you'll find out when you find out. Like,
you need to know. You need to know.
Like and then I said it's a game.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, though, that's my biggest regret. Is I did hold to my word with Cameron. I'm happy about that, but it did put both Cameron and Adrian into a kind of a shitty situation where they had to play Minesweeper for their ability to stay in the game after weeks of playing really good games. So that didn't feel great, but I am glad that Adrian made it through. So sorry, Adrian.
So
like I said, mortal enemies until tomorrow, or for another 27 hours, then we can be besties. But
what one other question related to that is, you had some alliances eventually, and this happens in every Survivor game, you have to turn on your alliances. You have to. At some point, you have to vote somebody out. You have to, you know, if you have a, you know, this nested alliance, the Onion Alliance, thank you, Lynx. Eventually, one of those you have to turn on. So at what point did you have to turn on somebody, and do you have any regrets about it?
Well, obviously, you know when I turned.
I know. I'm just giving you the opportunity to discuss it.
Who first, Adrian?
Adrian can go first.
Yeah, the turning point was voting Ted out, of course. So, Ted, wherever you are, regret it till the day I die. And
because you're going to hear about it till the day you die. She's not going to let it go.
So look, this is anyone who will tell you at some point, this is why I try to play games of abundance and positive sum. There's really only one person can win. So even with the alliances, at some point, things have to break down. What the Girl Alliance didn't see was how strong Mole was. Mm-hmm. So there was a little bit of and Prof, maybe you saw this, but we were like really into these games, like the group chats were. So there was a girl chat. It just wasn't quite as active, I think. But it's awful turning against Ted. And I think the only solace maybe she can have is she's the biggest threat. And what I had told people, I had several people reaching out to me in my DMs offering sympathy because they were feeling, sympathy for me, the backstabber, if you will, because she seemed so upset and they were worried I'd have to face the wrath of Ted. And I just said, Ted is such a fierce competitor. She's an athlete. Yeah. She wears everything on her. Like what you see is what you get. So I just said, I think we will be able to, I think we'll be able to reconcile, but you got to let her feel the loss.
Feelings.
She doesn't like,
Yeah, she's a total, very strong competitor. How about for you, Tody?
Professional athlete, like college. I mean, she's intense, and it's.
I think this kind of turned into two combined questions, I guess, because Adrian talked a little bit about the turning point for the game, and I do agree that challenge was the turning point, that the halvening, basically, where we kind of realized that whoever won the halvening, whichever tribe won the halvening, was going to basically be the tribe that could control the rest of the game, because one tribe would vote 3 out and one would vote 4 out. And that's basically how it played out, is once once Mole won that challenge, we could kind of pick off WoW as we wanted because we had the numbers so long as we stuck together. So that was basically the turning point for the game. I agree. As far as like turning on alliances, which is what Prof had mentioned a minute ago, obviously we did make the decision to break our Mole alliance one week early, essentially to get Kristen out of the game. And I think in terms of like my gameplay, that was the one time that I did like blatantly backstab. But again, like these were nested alliances, like I said, with like decreasing loyalty as the number of members went up. And as Adrian said, eventually you do kind of have to vote against people. So it's just a matter of when. And, you know, if we do know now that Kristen was allied with Cameron and also Riley, which I didn't know. So kudos to that. I had no idea that they had a,
I didn't know that either.
They were also allied across the floor, as it were. I think that was the only cross tribe alliance aside from the girls alliance. But anyway, so it behooved us to do something first before it happened to us. And while I do think that like Cameron and Christian were probably a little bit more loyal to the Mole alliance, and we're going to wait to the final four, if they had acted early the week before, and if they had the immunity idol to do it, they would have probably taken me or Adrian out, you know, to make sure that they could make it to the final two, I think. So it was kind of just like a question of who strikes first. And it was also, hopefully Kristen knows at this point, it was a huge compliment. We were like legitimately afraid of her spreadsheet. She had spreadsheets and lists, and like, she would just
played hard.
I'm sure she didn't mean
really
for this to be the case, but she would just post these like diatribes in the chat of like all the things she was analyzing. And probably this is what I'm thinking. I'm sure like Adrian and others were probably, I think Cameron mentioned it too, we're thinking, oh shit, like this, she's going to win because she's thinking about this way more than we are. And so I think that made her a bit of a threat. So she said, I think when the day that she was blindsided, she said, at least I didn't go out for being lame. I went out for being a competitor. And that's 100% the case. Like we definitely thought that she had a better chance of winning if we didn't get her out. And we also knew, like Adrian and I knew, that we had the numbers on the Mole side. So if, you know, if we didn't have to get out another wow that day, then it was kind of a wasted eviction, if you think about it that way, if we didn't get out another challenger.
Yeah. So. And I think that Kristen was the sleeper. And I said it very early on. I said, I think you guys are all sleeping on Kristen, when she was like, not, you know, just looking at bracket. And I was like, she's going to be a bigger competitor than you think. But she even surprised me, shocked me. Like, I really thought she was a sleeper, but I had no idea what level. Like, she brought it, and she absolutely would have gone really hard in that last game. I guarantee it. So, yep. I think that was the absolute right move. It was a risk, because if Grace won immunity, this would have been a very different ending, because I think that she, because of who she has in that sort of underdog story, and because of who was on the jury, it would have been interesting, to say the least. So,
yeah, I do think that final immunity challenge was maybe, and this is like feedback for future seasons, I think it might have been a little bit too powerful in hindsight.
Yeah.
Winning immunity, to my chagrin, I realized winning immunity actually meant that you essentially decided who was going out.
That's honestly how Survivor works, though, too.
But it works like that at final two, though. So I think maybe
it works at the end. Yeah, at the very end. Yeah, it does. It does. So this was our last challenge. Yeah, and that's honestly what usually happens, is that you get down to 4. The person who wins immunity picks one person to go with them to the final 3, and then the other 2 battle it out. Okay. So that you end up with a final 3, but it's still that similar situation where there's like a battle to see what happens.
A minesweeper battle, I think, is typically how they do it on Survivor, right?
Yes, exactly.
But they use real mines.
No, they actually make fire with like sticks and stuff. So yeah, I couldn't really do that. But honestly, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, how can I make them make fire? And this was pretty close. I needed something quick that could be a tiebreaker that would work. So that was when I saw Minesweeper. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That might work. So my vote will involve adherence to to host before bros, by the way. So, and I've seen, this is from Ivy. My vote will involve adherence to host before bros. I think, Adrian, the Girls Alliance is really upset. So just letting you know. You've been targeted, but it's going to be interesting.
Technically, I did choose a woman over my.
You chose a hoe before bro.
I didn't say that. You said that.
I said it. All right. Well, the
best part, honestly, I don't care what the very best. My highlight of the game was a comment in the Girl Alliance when someone asked if we think there's a boy alliance.
And what was the comment?
And it was just like, hey, do you guys think the boys are? And I'm like, no effing way. Like, trust me.
That is really funny because like two of the first to be voted off were guys. And I remember thinking after the second one went off, I was like, we probably should have had some sort of a guys alliance as well, just loosely held even, but we didn't even talk. So
no, they didn't really talk. I thought it was really interesting because if you watch Survivor, there's always this, there are always moments where the women are starting to try and create this women's alliance, and it never goes off. Eventually somebody breaks because you just have to in the game. So it's pretty common, but it was interesting I thought, that would have been the way that it could have shifted. Although you said, because of the halving, we had one tribe that had more than the other. But I knew that there was a girls' alliance in play. So I was like, that may not matter. It could have shifted the other way. It just didn't. So I wasn't sure if Molly was going to hold or not. But it was interesting to watch all those dynamics happening out. But it was also interesting to all the things I didn't see or I didn't catch until later on. So Kristen and Cameron, I didn't catch that.
Though. You should give credit to the Girls Alliance though, because basically Cameron and I were the last two guys left within like a couple weeks. So we definitely our gender got picked off pretty quickly.
It was just pretty amazing in this space, that's for sure.
Yeah,
that's something you don't see a lot. So it's it was interesting to see all the dynamics play out. Okay, so next up, you both will be posting a cast with a little video just saying, hey, here's our plea to the jury in the CastOut channel, and the jury will be able to add some questions there. So look for those questions coming today. You can post that anytime between noon and 3, and then the jury will have until tomorrow morning to add any questions. Votes will go out around, I'm going to send the voting out around 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, or actually maybe even sooner. Give them enough time to do their vote. The jury's going to be voting for the player to win. And the jury consists at this moment of Ted, Heavyweight, Grace, Cameron, and Kristen. So all people you voted out. That's the way Survivor works. And then the rest of the players all collectively have one vote. So they will vote together, whoever they vote for, that'll be a 6th vote. And if there is a tie, that vote will count as the tiebreaker. So that's how this one's working. So good luck to you both. And we'll find out tomorrow who is the winner. So, and thank you both for playing so hard. And also to the other players, everyone who put way more effort in than I anticipated, above and beyond. And I really appreciate that because it's going to help me improve this and see where we can take it in the future. And I'm going to be grabbing all the feedback from all of you and, going through each challenge and figuring out what works and what didn't and making improvements. So we iterate. So thank you both. And any last comments?
Kudos to you for designing the game
designing craziness.
Yeah, I was just thinking of I was trying to make the list of all the different Farcaster all the different Farcaster integrations and frames and things that you pulled in, and it's impressive.
Yeah,
I have a list.
Existed, so
yeah, and that was kind of the point, was to highlight all the sorry Tony, Team Adrian for the win.
How can I pull comments? Can I?
You cannot. You can't. Nope. Sorry, you have no ability to do that. That's so funny. I did. I put this one up for you. That was for you.
No.
So thanks. I think it was really fun, and I think we'll be able to do it again. And that was the point, was to show off all the different aspects of Farcaster. And the list is even longer than you may even realize, because there's things behind the scenes that I used that maybe weren't apparent. So I do have that running list, and I'm going to be posting something on Paragraph, and that's what I'm writing for the writing hackathon, and it will be done by Friday. So yes. You'll get the whole list of everything that was used. But that was part of this, was to showcase that, showcase Farcaster in a different, fun way. And hopefully we can do that a little bit
I'm
more.
sorry, live results. In this live stream, the bracket has flipped.
Shut up.
I just want you to know. Toady is now favored according to the bracket, so I must have said something wrong.
That bracket flips back and forth every day, though. I don't know.
It does.
And they didn't even know that we were allied.
What did I do wrong? What did I say?
It was probably Ivy's comment.
Ivy, help me.
Might have been Ivy. Oh, that's so
Adrian,
funny.
that just means that your shares are a potential investment opportunity now. Oh, wait. Now you have to update your disclaimers again. Sorry.
Disclaimer. NFA, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, luckily I have it built into our closing credits now. I do think the bracket part of it has been really fun. It made it, and there's a few other things where we're able to make it interactive and let other people sort of play along and contribute. And I like that. I really like that you created a group chat with your bracket holders. I think that added
one of the questions you said you were going to ask us, Prof, was what did your opponent do really well? And that's what I was going to say for that, is that there was a couple of times I was like, damn it, Adrian was really smart to do that, to corral all of her bracket people into a group chat. I didn't do that. I should have done that. That was a good idea. So props for that.
Yeah, that was my last question. So Adrian, what was something that Toady did well that you wish you had done, or that you showed? We know.
The list is long, but like, what a freaking gamer. I mean, literally, he's really good at counting to 3 and yoinking and passing a potato. Like,
he's willing. The thing is, here's what it comes down to. He's willing to lose sleep in order to win.
Nouns Esports, call me.
There you
very,
go.
very, very competitive gamer, but not in a not in an icky way. Not in a just like playing. So the very, very fierce competitive spirit, and look, I get it. We were in an alliance, and he said he was going to be loyal to it, and he was until the last 0.0005 seconds. And
Adrian, should we tell him?
I shouldn't have had to go to a tiebreaker with Cameron, but that's okay.
Prof, do we have time to tell them about the code?
Yeah, go ahead.
So about two weeks ago, I was thinking, laying awake, thinking about CastOut, as you do. And I was thinking that in the final 2 weeks, things might get a little bit muddy as like all these alliances converge and people start to wonder who's the real final two and this and that. So I came up with this idea to take one of my cryptodes. I have 3 cryptodes that are pretty dear to me. They all have, mohawks, which is kind of where the Toady Hawk name came from originally. So I ended up transferring one of them to an alt wallet and getting an alt wallet from Adrian and sending her one of my toads. Funny enough, it was her birthday. So she was like, thanks for the gift. I was like, well, not a gift actually. But I said, this is basically like an insurance policy. If I don't, if I betray you and we don't, and I cause you not to go to the final 2, then you can keep the toad. So I almost cost myself a toad, I think, yesterday by not, even though I didn't vote against Adrian, but I did, by not voting for Cameron, I did cause it to go to a tiebreaker. So she might have kept that toad if she had lost the tiebreaker. So
I had no idea you did that. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then
wow, that's huge. That's like huge for him to like send you.
And Toady said, I'm doing this. He's like, you don't have to reciprocate. And I told him I was not planning on it.
She doesn't have anything you want. You have all the same. You have all the things she has. Like it's nothing.
I sent my OG. Anyway. So fun things.
That's funny. Anyway, wow, I had no idea you did that. I have a feeling there's a lot of things that I have no idea happened in the background. I do have to figure out a little better of how we get the audience to see more of what happens in the background, and we'll figure that out. Some suggestions were, instead of the group chat, having the group chats are still going to happen, but having most of that happen in channels so that it's a little more
Cameron's
public.
In the group chat. Like, did you say see more?
See more, exactly.
Yeah, Cameron, help us out. We need to see more.
See more. Yeah, we need to see more. But we'll figure that out for the next iteration. And by the way, Lynx, you already have an invitation to play in season 1. So
that'll be good. I hope he plays.
For sure. Yeah. I already extended that to him. But I'm excited to see what he brings.
I feel like Lynx will be like the big brother Dan of CastOut.
Could be. I think you might be Boston Rob and you don't even realize it. So for those, I know, because you never watched Survivor. All right, we do have to end it here. We're running a little over. I don't know if Alex Como is in our chat. I'm sorry, we're running a little behind. I'll be there to see you momentarily.
Welcome to 59 minutes of Farcaster news.
Sorry,
to start your day.
I knew this part might run a little long. He's in the chat. He said it's okay. Thank you.
All right, I have to go and tend to my sick child now.
And we have to get out of here anyway. So thank you all and have an amazing day, everybody. And of course, with that, we say bye-bye. And if I can find my closing credits, here we go.
All right, I have to go.